Welcome back to the Left and Shy podcast. This is episode 185. On this episode, we did Chicago Marathon 101, everything you need to know for the race, tips and tricks. And who better to have on this episode than the man, the myth, Mr. Chicago himself, Eric Floberg. Eric broke down the whole weekend for us, the expo, pre-race, the race itself, what to do if you're a spectator, what to tell your family if they want to watch you during the race, and then the post-race as well. We got the whole weekend broken down for you from Eric himself. Hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a review if you enjoyed the episode. Drop a comment for us. We'd love to see it. And of course, share it with a friend. Love you, mean it.
So word on the street is we're talking about our old jobs and our favorite jobs. Well, Chris Striegel used to work at Ken Combs Running Store, and I actually used to work at another one of our sponsors, Mason Construction. Mason Construction was started by my dad about 25 years ago, and it was my first job in high school. I later went away to college, got a degree in civil engineering, worked for another company, and then got hired away to the family business. And it was a top 3 life experience was working in the family business. We have a motto on the podcast. It's find people you love and do life with them. And this was a perfect example of that. When I go back to Louisville eventually to build my forever home, I'm going to have Mason Construction do it. And I've already actually been a customer of Mason Construction. My first house that I ever bought, it was a little 3-bed, 2-bath in St. Matthews. And Mason Construction came through and renovated it, added on to the main bed suite, totally redid the kitchen, and it was an incredible experience while I was actually working for them. So check out Mason Construction at masonconstructionky.com. If you're looking for a renovation or a new house, hit them up, masonconstructionky.com.
While Eric is ordering his Chipotle, I'm going to do a quick intro. We have on local Chicago legend, Mr. Eric Floberg, friend of the pod, friend of you, fan of all of you. I don't really know what I'm saying, but regardless, this is a Chicago Marathon for Dummies, 101 Chicago Marathon, everything you need to know. Pre-race, post-race, during race, corrals, what to do, what not to do. Hopefully, by the end of this, you feel more prepared, more informed, and you can maybe follow this as a guide for your race day. Share it with a friend that would benefit from this as well. And yeah, I think Eric has run Chicago 7 times.
I think this will be my 7th.
This is your 7th. Have you put that in your series? Like,
That
I
this
feel
will
like
be my
you
7th.
said. I feel like you've said it was your 7th last time.
I did 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24. This will be my 7th.
So if you get into Berlin, will that be the first year since COVID that you're not going to do it?
I'll probably still fun run it.
Hmm.
I can't imagine a world where I don't fun run it every year.
Yeah, I love that.
Just make it a long run workout. Easy long run workout.
Dude, Eric, are you up to 100-mile weeks right now, dog?
No, I'm backing off. I'm tapering, baby.
Did you max at 100 or no?
Yeah,
I'm maxed at 100. Yeah.
Dang, I was
Just
gonna say-
one.
Dang.
Just one 100-mile week.
have you ordered your Chipotle yet?
Almost. I'm in the checkout now. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. He went. He said, "I'm gonna order Chipotle right as Chris hit the record button."
Yeah. Oops.
Dude, dang, he did hit 100. Whoa. Are you feeling like, dude, here's what happens when you hit 100 miles in a week. You get the 5th Infinity Stone.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything at the
Yeah.
snap of your fingers.
I'm trying not to snap.
Yeah, you'll snap your fingers at mile 18 of the Chicago Marathon.
I'm missing that
And-
reference. Can someone
And
please fill me
obliterate
in?
half the field. It's the Avengers.
Mm.
Dude, Scotty, you got to watch Avengers Endgame, bro.
I've never been a real huge Marvel fan. Not gonna lie.
You're missing out. That's all I'm saying. You're missing tears. You're missing laughter. You're missing moments you'll never forget. You got to watch it.
I
Alright,
will.
my Chipotle is ordered.
All right, Eric's Chipotle is ordered. Let's get into this. Eric, we're just going to kind of hit you with questions, and if you have answers to them from running the Chicago Marathon 7 times, you can give your answer in your humble opinion. And if you don't, we'll either ask the internet or we'll say figure it out. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
All right, we're going to start with the expo. What is your favorite day to go to the expo? And is there anything worth seeing at the expo?
I think best day to go to the expo is Friday. It's the middle ground between not too busy, but seeing enough people and there being hype. I don't ever want to go on Thursday because I don't feel like there's enough people and it's not getting me excited enough. And then I don't want to go on Saturday because I don't want to waste steps on my feet. And then it's ultra busy that day.
Yeah, and then figuring out parking when it's that busy and all that is,
Yeah.
and then you just start wasting
So
time.
you sleep in on Friday morning and you go on Friday afternoon.
Dude, Eric,
Wait for me.
have you seen the Chicago Marathon gear yet this year? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Man, I'm normally not a negative person, but I'm going to go ahead and just dunk on that gear.
He didn't like it last year either.
Dude, last year's was bad.
Last year's was bad. This is 4 times as bad from what I've seen.
Okay, there is some stuff that was posted in our Life in Stride Discord with our athletes. There's some like simple Nike gear. I mean, it looks like you bought it at like,
Oh.
no offense, but like Dick's Sporting Goods or something, like super simple. And it's not horrible, but like the like cool stuff that Nike put out, the like multicolored, like the whole shirt is covered in stuff.
Bad.
I saw it and I was like, wow, that's really bad.
Really, really bad. And what's interesting is Chicago Marathon redid their entire branding suite, and it looks a lot better now than what it did previously. So like if you go to their Instagram and see their profile photo, that's their new branding, and it's great. Like it's really clean and good. But this is insane. Like I don't know if you have visual going right now.
No, we do.
But the comments are hysterical on this. The top comment, my favorite top comment is like, the project was due at midnight and y'all started at 10 p.m.
Dude, no, that shirt right there, the shirt that just showed the color one.
The singlet.
Oh my gosh. So
ironically, I think that's the best looking thing out of the whole thing. Otherwise, I just have no idea what they were thinking.
it kind of looks like the stuff looks like your local 5K,
Yeah.
like on
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving that you're like, like thanks for the shirt, you know?
Yeah.
Which is so unfortunate because Nike's doing it. And
I know it's strange.
I don't understand that. It's been bad 2 years in a row. Maybe
I
somebody
really
has a
can't.
different opinion.
I never get race clothing anyway.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Boston jacket, or I got a New York jacket one year. That was really cool. It's just black and white and simple. I like things being simple. I don't want it to be like neon crazy. But anyway,
Boston always has a good shirt. I appreciate that it's long sleeve too.
Yeah.
Usually
another note on the expo is that, and they do this a lot of expos, you have to get your bag and your bib, you have to walk through absolutely everything all the way to the back. So just know that that's the case, that you have to walk all the way through, and they put you through all the booths. There's 1.5 million things to look at. If you need to purchase gels or electrolytes or try on new shoes or Normatec boots, or you can try anything, everything. You can buy anything, everything you need. So it's a really great expo in that regard, but there's a good bit of walking. So you have to walk quite a bit to even get back to the expo as well. Another reason to go on Friday.
Yes.
All right, moving on to race morning. Eric Floberg.
Turn your echo down.
Echo down.
Yeah, bro, you for sure have an echo.
It's down. I don't know why I was up. My dog did it. Is that better? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh, one last thing as a reminder to people. There's a lot going on race day. Bring your ID to the expo. I've seen so many people not bring their ID, and like parking in downtown Chicago and finally getting into the expo is already a thing. Don't forget your ID. It's like your bib on race day.
Dude, my wife did that at Boston last year, and I was like, "You're such a Boston rookie."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we had to walk like a mile back to the car, come back. Classic
Yup.
Boston rookie,
The
bro.
whole thing. Striegel, move on.
Moving on to race morning. All right, Eric Floberg. So your wave one starts at, let's see, you start at 7:30. You have to be in the Corral by 7:20. Are you doing bag drop? Is bag drop worth it? And what time do you plan on getting to Grant Park to chill out, use the bathroom before the race?
Bag drop is 100% worth it in this race. Unlike New York, where you have to drop off your bag the day before and you're worried about it getting to where you need it to get. There's a lot of races where you don't have a lot of faith in like the process. Even I ran Brooklyn half, and they like put them on UPS trucks, and we were all waiting for the bags to get there at the finish line. It was chaos. But the great thing about Chicago, and why it's similar to Berlin, it's a looped course. So everything is in Grant Park, like right in the middle of the city. And so bag drop is right by Buckingham Fountain. So that's your central hub for everything. You get there in the morning to Buckingham, you drop your bag off, and then the finish chute takes you right back to Buckingham. You pick up your bag, and then you can head over to the 27-mile party over in Butler Park, which is just north of Grant Park. And it's just a huge field where you can meet people. There's columns with letters, so you could say like you could go to the letter of your last name and meet your party at that location. Super easy to find people. As far as getting there in the morning, I highly recommend getting there earlier than you think you need to. It's changing year to year as majors get more and more popular. Chicago is up and around 50,000 people now. The porta potty situation was an absolute nightmare last year. Longtime listeners of the pod know the alleged information, the alleged story of what went down.
It's allegedly a
crime. Allegedly a crime.
Yes.
But yeah, if you wait to try to use a porta potty to go to the restroom 20 minutes before your corral entry, you're not going to get in. At least that's what it was like at ABC Corral up there, and I imagine it was probably similar in other places. So my recommendation is honestly get there an hour to an hour and a half before your corral closes. If you bring throwaway clothes, you'll be fine. Like Chicago's never cold enough to be like super uncomfortable as long as you have some throwaway pants and a hoodie. So I like just not, and that just brings your stress levels way down. Just get in, get through security, get your bag dropped off if you need to do that, and then just go find a place to sit down. You could grab an extra throwaway and use it kind of as a blanket, find a grassy area and just chill outside of the corrals. You don't need to go into the corral entrance yet. So there's basically two phases. You have a gate that there's 3 different corrals per gate. So it'll be like A, B, and C corral, go through this gate, and then you go to your corral from there. So they're sectioned off into different places. And so they don't want you entering that thing until you're ready to like enter the corral. So you can hang outside of that gate for a while, and it's a lot more open. It's a lot less stressful. You could do some walking around, some warm ups, some dynamic drills. But then in that time when you're getting there an hour to an hour and a half early, use the porta potties then. Like use your safe bet on a bathroom early and just flush the system as early as you can so that if you get the off chance of maybe using one later, or if you have the luxury of, peeing on a fence or a tree or whatever, you can do that afterwards. Everyone around a corral is doing that right before race. So if it's any consolation, makes you feel better, no one's judging anyone for really peeing or defecating anywhere.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's critical is like, if you're going to go number 2, do it right when you get to
Yes.
that warm-up area or to the area where you're waiting around. But you can pee. It's like pretty easy to go number 1 at any time. And again, runners aren't going to judge you. A ton of people in the corral are kneeling down, having their friends block them so they can go.
And it goes for ladies too. Like there's tons of ladies who just have friends like putting a couple throwaways to guard them. And like the vibe last year, everybody that was going to the bathroom, everyone was like, respect, like no one cares at all. And even if you're as bold to do it, I saw a lady just peed on her leg literally in the corral 2 years ago. She's just like standing in a puddle. And you're like, it is what it is.
Respect. Yeah. You're just like,
or
respect.
like you could literally just pull over to the gutter, to the curb, and drop a knee in the corral. Like that's done as well. So
Yeah.
there's kind of just no rules, honestly. I mean, technically you could get kicked out of the race. It's in the rules, but like everybody in that first drag of the first half mile underneath the overpass is like pulling off to the side and peeing off to the side if they weren't willing to do it pre-race. But
Yeah.
I'm never willing to sacrifice my race in any time in that way.
A quick pro tip on the going number 1 is bring a trash bag. Like Costco sells these massive ones that are like head to toe length, and you literally can poke a hole in the top for your head, and then you just bring a Gatorade bottle and you can pee. That's really only helpful for a guy, but best advice is get there earlier than you think, like Eric said, and like go when you don't think you have to go, because Lord have mercy, I allegedly got myself in a real pickle with about 5 minutes before the corral closed.
Hey guys, Chris here. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Ken Combs Running Store here in Louisville, Kentucky. If you're not from Louisville, you can shop online with them at We Run Lou. That's WeRunLOU.com. We have a discount code in the show notes. If you're a newer runner or an experienced runner and you live in Louisville, it's a great place to shop. They have everything you need with apparel, nutrition, awesome assortment of different brands with shoes, and they have carbon racing shoes, trainers, whatever you need. Workout shoes. If you're a newer runner, it's also a great place to start. They have an awesome staff, super friendly group of people that work there, and they can get you plugged in with a group. They have a workout group that does track nights, whatever you need to get started with running, just to meet people. It's so important to meet people when you're a new runner. Make sure you go to Ken Combs first. That's like a great place to start. But again, if you're not from Louisville, check out their website. We have the discount code in the show notes. And if you are from Louisville, there's nowhere else to shop for running stuff than Ken Combs.
And speaking of corral closings, like little like hard stats here. So wave 1 is high performance through E, and then wave 2 is F through K, sometimes K. Wave 3 is K through N, and those are your corrals. Wave 1 starts at 7:30, wave 2 starts at 8, and wave 3 starts at 8:35. But that's not really the important number you need to know. It's really the corral closes for wave 1, which is A through E, at 7:20. And that's like they won't let you in. You got to go into F at that point, and then in wave 2, which would suck.
You could hop a fence. Like there are people who do that, but you don't want to be doing that before your race. Like people will assist you and help you hopping the fence, so it's not all is lost. But yeah, you don't want to risk like pulling a groin or like cutting yourself on the fence or whatever.
And then
just make sure you have enough time to get in the corral.
Wave 2 closes at 7:45, and then wave 3 closes at 8:10 a.m. So remember those times: 7:20, 7:45, and 8. 7:20 is like bare minimum, like that is the last second. But I would probably plan on being in there maybe 7 to 7:10 is safe. Last year there was like a circle warm up in Corral A, which was pretty funny. I was like, I honestly would rather just stand here than run in a circle with like 1,000 people at 12-minute mile pace.
I think like an important piece here is like getting in that corral decently early, because especially if you're in that first wave and you're trying to like go for a pretty fast time, like keep in mind like there's people running sub 2:30 in that wave, but there's also people like trying to break like 2:55 probably in that wave. So if you get there late and you're in the back of the wave and you're trying to run like a pretty quick time, you're probably going to be behind some people running 20, 30 minutes slower than you the first mile of the race. And, you know, take it from me, last year, I like burned a ton of matches weaving through that crowd, trying to be on pace the first mile. So don't know if you guys have any comments on that, but about like just managing the first mile of the race. But it is like pretty hectic somewhere to Boston, the first mile, with like a lot of crowds. So
yeah, I wanted to ask Eric, like, kind of go into kind of course and race breakdown. Those first 1 through 3 miles, it's definitely a manual split. Your watch will be wrong. Do not panic. You go through a tunnel like right away. You basically, well, it's not a tunnel. It's an underpass basically.
Yeah, it's a tunnel essentially.
Yeah,
it's really dark. They actually just redid all the lights in there, so it's not like nasty tungsten orange anymore. It's like actually much more illuminated. So hopefully that'll be the case this year. Yeah, your GPS is whack. So that's it's a really hard part about Chicago Marathon is you don't know what pace you're really running the first mile. So you always in a marathon, you want to err on the side of conservative in the first mile to 5K anyways. So just know that if you're towards the front of your corral or near a pace group, say you're trying to go sub 3 and the sub 3 pack is right around you, they're probably going a bit faster than they even need to go. So just chill out and camp out behind them and don't try to dart through people. For someone like me and what Chris dealt with last year, it's going to be pretty challenging in that first mile. But I've already relinquished the fact that even if I run a 6 flat the first mile, it is what it is. It's fine, even though I want to be around 5:45. And then just start slowly working your way up, because things really start to open up, at least towards the front of the race, around mile 3 and the 5K mark. It's pretty chaotic for the first 2 miles because you zigzag through the city and GPS is fully whacked. So you want to be manually splitting your miles or kilometers, which one you prefer. The kilometer signs are way smaller than the mile signs, so you have to be really cognizant of that if you're splitting kilometers. If you're doing kilometers, I would just recommend you split 5K, 10K, 15, 20 every 5. It'll be much easier because those are much bigger signs.
Yeah.
But I always split every single mile in the race, and it's laser accurate. I have the distinct advantage of knowing where every single mile marker is on this course, so that's super helpful as well. But you really have to pay attention because there's a lot going on. Know that you cross the river 3 times in those first 3 miles. So you're going to go right after the half mile, you'll cross the river north, you'll turn around on State Street, you'll cross it again just after the first mile marker at about 1.25, and you'll go down State, turn right, and then up on LaSalle, you cross the bridge one more time right before the 3 mile mark.
Yeah.
So there's a good bit of like a mile and a half back into the loop. And then once you hit that 3 mile mark, you're heading north all the way until mile 8 turnaround.
Yeah. Miles 4 through 12, they consider the north side of the course. You go through Lincoln Park, Lakeview, and Old Town, and you pass Wrigley Field. Is that all correct?
You pass around Wrigley Field. You don't see it, but you're in Wrigleyville when you turn around. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You pass Wrigleyville near Wrigley Field. That's what I'm reading. That was
Devastating.
your question. You passed.
Eric,
This also says that there's typically cooler temperatures around this time of the race because you're close to the lake, but take that with a grain of salt. Because
it could be windy too. That whole Lakeshore Drive from like 6 all the way up to 8, that 2 mile stretch, that could be a lot of years. It's a headwind. So finding a group and tucking in is really important at that point because you're just exposed to Lakeshore Drive and openness on your right side, the east side. Once you turn left and on that farthest north point, start working your way south, you're then surrounded by buildings on each side, and it's way less wind.
Eric, pretend I'm your eldest son. Okay. Dad, I want to go watch you at the marathon tomorrow, and I want your recommendations on where I can see you the most and how I'm going to get access on the tee or wherever I need to go to see you as many times as possible. Where do you recommend? What mile markers do you recommend I catch you at, Dad?
Well, you need an adult to be with you at all times.
I will get mom's permission.
pretend your
And you
eldest
need-
son is 21 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. So we pretty much do the same thing every year, and it's a really great spectating course for a major because it's a 3-leaf clover. So north side there's a loop, west side there's a loop, and then south side sort of like a jagged loop. But you have to be really careful in recognizing like how fast your runner is. If they're more of a 4 to 5 hour marathoner, it's obviously gonna be a lot easier to hit a certain amount of points. For someone like me who's running the race around 2:30, it's gonna be a lot harder to hit like 3 different spots. So we try to just do 2 spots, and in those 2 spots you get a double view in each location because the course loops. So on the north side, it's really great because the course runs about 2 to 3 blocks apart from each other going northbound and southbound. So if you can find anywhere along that strip, whether it's 6 and 10, 7 and 9, that's usually the range. Like between miles 6 and 10, 7 and 9 are the best places. So you don't want to go too far north because then it's going to take a long time to go back south. So my family usually does the 6 mile marker and the 10 mile marker, which is up by Peggy Nopart and Lincoln Park, right around 6 mile, 10K mark. And then the 10 mile mark back over on the Lincoln Park city side before you hit Old Town. That's kind of where it stops running side by side. Once you hit around just past mile 10 into 11, they start to divert a whole lot more. So that's my recommendation on the north side. You can jump on the red line. So the train in Chicago is called the L. It's shortened for the elevated train.
They're calling it the
Yeah,
T. I don't know why.
T's Boston.
Oh,
Boston.
that's why. That's why. Okay.
So you have Metra in Chicago, but that's much more like city to suburb train, and that's a traditional train. And then the L is the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, and those are colored train lines. So you have the red line that goes north, and that's probably what you want to stick to for the race. The red line goes straight back to the loop. The reason the loop is called the loop is because the L train does a loop around the loop and then spits back out to where it normally goes. So you take the red line south. If you want to be aggressive with seeing your person in 3 spots, then I would recommend getting out to the west side then. And then you could do the same double thing where you could see them at mile 14 and mile 17. So that's west side Adams Street into Greektown. So you have a 3-mile buffer there where they're going all the way west and turning around at 15 and a half, 15, and coming back to Greektown at 17. And again, those streets are about 2 blocks apart again. So if you're looking at the map, you'll see the U shape that goes out west and back, only 2 blocks apart. So when you're going westbound on mile 14 and 15, if you look to your left, you'll see faster racers than you 2 blocks away, going eastbound, heading back into Greektown. And then likewise, if you're on that side, you'll see slower runners on your left. So that's where I'd recommend if you're going to go west side. That's what my family does not do, so that they can get to the south side spot that we recommend. So the south side, if you're looking at the map, it doesn't do a traditional or the same thing that the north side and the west side does with like running in parallel tandem until mile 22 and a half.
Yeah.
When it hits Michigan. So my family hits Chinatown right at like the 21 and a half mile mark, and because it's right off the red line. So if you take the red line from up north at the mile 10 mark, you take it straight down to Chinatown. You're on Canal Port, I believe, and it's the huge Chinatown marquee that's right there. So they'll kind of go, well, there's a ton of people in that corner. So if you want your runner to actually see you, then you head kind of out of the crowd towards the 21-mile marker. So you're like going backwards in the race. And my family tries to like get in the median so that they can shout at me as I'm coming through there. And then it's really easy from there to walk quickly to like the mile 24-ish mark, 24 and a half on the last stretch of Michigan. So that's a good walk that you have to take from Chinatown east over to that spot. But if you want to ditch the Chinatown attempt, an easier marker is just to hit like the 22 and a half mile corner where runners turn right onto Michigan to go southbound. And then that's the same thing. That's the most parallel side by side you are with other runners in the race. This is where you can literally see them because there's just a median separating you.
Yeah.
So like last year I saw Des Linden on the other side going that way. You'll see faster runners heading northbound back into the loop. This is the hardest part of the race. It gets kind of dead here. You go down to mile 23 and you loop at 35th Street to come back north. It's really hard to watch faster runners go by you in that stretch going southbound. But when you're going north and seeing runners behind you, it's the opposite effect, and you're like,
Right.
oh, at least I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. What would you, that was a great, like, it was essentially the whole course. I mean, you go west and then you go south, kind of killed 2 birds with that stone. But what would you say are the most aggressive crowd parts of the course? Definitely halfway, and then maybe Chinatown after that. But what can you expect course-wise?
I'd say most aggressive are the turnarounds in the loop on the bridges. Those are really stacked. Usually people are like up on the huge metal grates and everything. It's really consistent through north side, like through Wrigleyville is a big party. You have a lot of people through there, but like a really massive crowd is what Scotty's saying. Like once you hit right before mile 13, you make a right onto Wacker. You go through the bridge, the graded street and the bridge above you, the L above you, and you make a right onto Wacker, and it's just like 8 rows deep and just
crazy.
And then for an entire half mile from 12 and a half all the way through the halfway point, it's just packed.
I want to pause here real quick. This is really important, and I think we did something similar podcast wise in your studio last year. I wanted to get this out a little earlier, just informationally for people, but I think we talked about this, like, don't go too hard at the halfway point, and it's everybody's fastest split.
Everyone.
And then your
surge.
heart rate like spikes a little bit, and then like sometimes you can get it under control, but sometimes you can't. Like, please listen to me. Just enjoy the crowd and don't sprint. It's so easy to do, and it'll be the easiest mile of the whole entire day. But I promise you, mile 14, 15 is like the loneliest mile after that. Not crowd-wise, but just like, you're like, oh no, I don't think I can do this anymore. Just stay on pace. Stay on pace.
It's the coolest and worst part about this race. And I'm now that I know it so well, I'm going to be so disciplined in this part of the race, because we absolutely surged. And like Scotty's saying, the entire field surges. Like, you feel like you're still going the same pace, but you're not. And you hit your manual split at mile 14, and you're like, oh no.
What have I done?
Because even to your points, Scotty, the crowds do dwindle a lot on the west side. So as you pass mile 14 into 15 and you get out towards the United Center, it's like you're
pretty sparse-ish for the course.
You start, I mean, that's where marathons start to get hard anyways. Yeah. And then you start seeing people who are having a really bad day peel off, and you start playing that mental game where you're like, I don't know if I can sustain this. And it starts getting really, really hard.
The streets also get really wide there, and you have less buildings, so it feels like less like confined, and you kind of feel like maybe alone a bit because the streets are.
And on
a
sunny day, you're much more exposed with wider streets because the tree coverage isn't as good. So just keep all that stuff in mind, especially as you go back eastbound. So that's probably one of the most dead parts of the course, is the far west side by the United Center. And then once you get back to Greektown and back to the West Loop Greektown, it gets a lot more boisterous. All the way through UIC into mile 17 and 18 is pretty good crowd support still. But that stretch from 18 to 19, in between Little Italy and Pilsen, it gets really dead on that stretch. It's always a grind through that section. You're heading southbound. You come off, you're going west, you make a left, going southbound into mile 19 and the 30K mark. But once you turn left on 18th Street in Pilsen, it is psychotic. Like, all of 18th Street and Pilsen is just a huge party. And then it gets dead again in between Pilsen and Chinatown. And then Chinatown's crazy again. But after Chinatown, it's like completely dead from 22 and a half, that whole Michigan stretch going south. That whole last loop is just very little support. There's one pocket in the last turnaround when you go north, there's like a couple cheer groups there. But it doesn't start picking up again until you pass the 24-mile mark, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then arguably the last turn onto Roosevelt is probably the biggest crowds in the race. It's like 10 rows deep and just craziness.
And it almost makes it so that you don't realize that you're going, like, it's like the steepest hill in the entire race at the very end, which is hilarious. But I don't think there's any changing that. It's just part of the course. But I mean, that's a pretty comprehensive like course breakdown. Really, like, if you have any questions, just rewind 10 minutes and listen to it again for real. I mean, definitely it's the mile 13 is a cruel spot for that much crowd support to be. It would be much better if that was at like mile freaking 21, man. I could kill that at mile 21, 22.
Right.
But it is what it is. Like, it's truly a mental test to go from that much crowd support to nothing.
And psychologically, it's really hard at the halfway point in either case, because if you're having a great race and you have a great half split, you're like, oh, I'm cruising, let's go. And you push it too hard. Or if you're behind on your half split and you're like, oh, I really need to speed up. And it's a recipe for chaos and disaster all the time. So just be super disciplined. In those moments, I always just let the field kind of edge past me, and I let them just kind of go for a bit. Yeah. And once you get out of all the chaos, then you just slowly attach yourself back onto that group.
It wouldn't even be the worst idea if your mile 13 to 14 split was like your slowest miles of the race. Like, honestly, you could really get carried that and have a solid reset. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
A couple other hard details. I never really noticed this. This is from the Chicago website, but Gatorade is first in every water stop, and water is second.
Really?
That's actually helpful for me to know that, because I'm always, when stuff gets hard and I can't hear, everyone's screaming, I never hear, they all are yelling Gatorade water. I'm like, which one's Gatorade, which one's water? Because if I drink Gatorade right now, I'm gonna get a cramp because of the sugar. Like, so know that Gatorade is first, water is second. Just a little hot take there. Going to after the race and you finish, what's your favorite thing to do post race?
I have one before we hit post race.
Hey, go ahead.
So Boston Marathon, a few miles to go. You see the Sitco sign, right? Is there any? And that's like, okay, last push. Here we go. A couple miles to go. Is there any?
1 mile to go.
That's 1 mile to go. Is it really?
Yes.
I thought it was 2. Okay, well, that's good to know. We're all running Boston next year. Eric, so is there any landmarks as a native Chicagolandian? Is there any landmarks you look for that's like, okay, last big push, I'm almost there? Is there anything in your head you think of that you see?
Oh yeah. So the first one is when you go that last turn going south into mile 23, it feels like it takes forever to get to the southernmost point. But as soon as you turn around and you round that corner to go back north, that's the point where it's just a 5K left. And everyone around you will probably start saying that. Just a 5K left, just a 5K left. And you see the skyline again. So there's that. But then the biggest one for me is there's a train overpass at right about a mile to go on Michigan. I can't remember if it's just before a mile or just after a mile, but I always fixate because you can see it like a mile down the road. I always put my eyes on that overpass and I just don't take my eyes off of it. And I just tell myself to get there because I know once I get there, it's just a mile left of the race. So it's just and you'll see it. It's metal and brown and it goes right over the road. It's impossible to miss.
Nice. That is like so helpful mentally late in a race. Like know like you're looking for something like that and then you see it. So nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Just
looking
get
for that
there.
and I'm never gonna see it. I'm just gonna like look right past the giant metal brown thing. Be like, Eric, I was looking for that, and then before I knew it, it was mile 26, and I never pushed thanks to you.
Well, the weird thing about mile 26 in this race is most people don't see it because it's on that hill. So you round the corner under Roosevelt and you start going up the hill and everyone starts going like, oh, like a hill now. And you start just like dreading and you don't see you pass the 26-mile marker like halfway up the hill.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, Scotty, go ahead with the post race dog.
Post race, Eric, what are you doing?
Well,
Best
they're
place
going
for
to
your
push.
family or reunite with friends, really.
Well, they're going to push you along in the corral as they should. Like that's the safest thing to do. You don't want to block up the corral and ruin people's finish. So you want to keep it moving, but I like to keep it as slow as possible. Grab as much stuff as I can because my favorite thing to do post marathon is walk backwards and just see friends and people I know crossing the finish line and just have those moments. Like don't allow race organizers to rob you of those moments. You could just be really polite and be like, absolutely, I will. Thank you. And you just kind of move along and just like, don't stop moving, but you don't need to go like super fast. I recommend just soaking all that in because those hugs and those dap ups and all that energy is like the best experience ever, good or bad. And yeah, make sure you're grabbing all the goodies for refueling there. And then you work your way over to, like I said, Buckingham Fountain. So you'll be heading north up Columbus, and you'll take a right into the Buckingham Fountain area, get your bag. That's another really good spot to meet up with people, and that's where you don't have to be moving anymore. So that's where people start taking photos, getting their bag, sitting down, all that stuff. But it's definitely way less energy as, the finish shoot. From there, as I mentioned earlier, you'll work your way a bit further north into Butler Field, which is just to the right and just east of the start line. And that's where it's just a massive grassy field with different vendor booths and all of those like inflatable vertical columns with the letters for meeting locations. That's where I recommend people go. It's the easiest place to celebrate. It starts like once there's a lot more finishers, it gets super, super busy in there. but really just kind of bottlenecks in the front side because people are looking for their racer coming through. So I'd recommend don't sit in that bottleneck. Get a letter, an assigned letter for your group, and just go find them at that letter column. And then from there, you can just kind of do whatever.
Love it. Love it. Dude, as we wrap this, I got one more question for you, Striegel, unless you have anything else.
I'm all good, man. Go right ahead.
One more question. If you were talking to like a younger Eric, right? Maybe a less experienced Eric, and this can go for really anybody if you're giving this to a younger generation or somebody who's maybe only ran a marathon or a couple marathons, or maybe this is their first. Doubt it, but a lot of times that happens, you know. What advice are you giving like the young Eric who's inexperienced going into this challenge as you approach this massive goal? Like what would you have wanted to hear from a younger Eric?
I think it all depends on what you want the outcome of your race to be, because I look at my first years of running Chicago, and this is where people might think I'm crazy. Like I might get choked up talking about this because this race means so much to me. Like I plan on for as many years as I'm alive that I can run this race. But if I ever move away from Chicago, like coming back to it will be one of the most nostalgic things I could ever experience, because so much emotion and love for this city and the people and the sport are wrapped up in this race. I look at my old performances that are horrible in comparison to what I run now and how much more of a proficient runner I am now. And I look at it and I'm like, I don't know if I really would have changed anything because it set the foundation of how much I love this race. And now every time I race it, it is really competitive, but I don't know if I would love it as much if I didn't like soak it in the way I did those first 2 years, because I was like, the first couple of times I ran, I was just gobsmacked at the production of it all. I was like, how is this real? Like, how are there this many people and it feels like this? Like it's, if I could bottle up what it feels like to run a major marathon and the just the electricity in the air and the nervous energy. You know, if we could sell it, we'd be billionaires, you know, and so that's my first recommendation is just do not rob yourself of being present and experiencing the race. Now, I'm sure a lot of people listening to the podcast have time goals and want to be competitive with themselves. So, and that's totally cool too. I love that as well. But yeah, I would never want someone to have a really rough day competitively with themselves and like completely miss the mark and then realize, wow, I didn't take any of it in either. You know? So even if you don't have a great day, you can at least walk away just being like, I had the best time. Like it was so much fun. And ultimately, like, yeah, like Rory might be listening to the pod, but like we're all not elite, you know, we're not going after top 10 finishes in this race. And so what ultimately matters is like the memories we have from it and what we can pull from it in future years. So yeah. And then functionally, just don't go out too hot. Don't let that excitement ruin your race for you. Like really be disciplined and commit to that discipline to start slower than you think you need to.
Love it.
Yep.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
That is episode, what is it? Episode 185 of the Life of Stride podcast. Truly, if you found this episode helpful, if you could share with a friend who's running or plans to run Chicago Marathon, that would be dope. As always, we appreciate you. And if you would give us a review on Spotify or Apple, that would also be helpful. But we love you, mean it. Hope you enjoyed. Till the next one.
Peace.